In the first episode, I discussed how the governing board of the Jehovah's Witnesses have concealed a secret to its members, a secret so dark that if exposed, could actually lead to the collapse of the Watchtower Society. I mentioned that in the world flowing with information, one organization has mastered an art of hiding the secret in plain sight to its members. One way they've kept this secret in plain sight is information lockdown. In today's video, we look at the second method that the governing board of the Jehovah's Witnesses has carefully orchestrated to hide this dark secret, constructing a perfect prison of the mind. What if everything you believe was the truth was actually a carefully constructed prison, not with bars, but with ideas so deeply implanted you would never think to question them? This is the reality of 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses. In today's video, we are going to expose how the Watchtower Society has built what experts call the perfect mind control system. And it all starts with 3 psychological traps. Trap number 1, branding the truth. But here is the issue. From their first memories, Jehovah's Witnesses have been told one phrase above all others, and that is, we have the truth. Yes, a truth with capital T. Now, this is not just grammar. This is a deliberate branding. When you grow up believing that your religion is not just a set of beliefs, but is the truth with a capital T, something dangerous happens. Anything outside that automatically becomes a lie. That is the implication. Children sing songs about staying in the truth. They rehearse Watchtower's scripted answers. By the time they become adults, questioning their organization is the same as questioning whether the sky is blue. And that's exactly what the governing body wants. Not faith, but unquestioning obedience.
Recently, we received a letter from the Personnel Committee about the subject of obedience. Speaking about the lessons we have learned during the lockdown, the letter stated, "Perhaps the greatest thing we have learned is the importance of obedience. In this, you, dear brothers and sisters, have set an outstanding example. As God's servants, we are obedient from the heart, as we read at Romans 6:17. What does that mean? We are obedient because we love Jehovah. How have we benefited from the instructions that we receive from Jehovah's organization? A married couple in this country said, following the directions we received gave us peace of mind. And a brother in Peru said, I feel now better prepared to be obedient to instructions yet to come. Question: what is the link between Armageddon and obedience? Now, James chapter 3, verse 17 helps us to find the answer. There we read that we need to be ready to obey. There is a similarity between those Roman soldiers in the past and us today. We too have to be well-trained and ready to obey. Why? Because the obedience that we develop today will help us to obey life-saving instructions that we will receive from God's organization in the future. When the nations attack us and the war of Armageddon follows, showing obedience will be our protection.
Branding alone is not enough. To maintain control, you must eliminate competing voices. This is where now you enter the second trap: isolation. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught that outside, the worldly people are spiritually dangerous. They are not just mistaken. They don't just believe wrong things or have wrong beliefs, but these people are actively under the influence of Satan. If you are enjoying this video, kindly like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell so that when I upload the next episode, you'll receive a notification and you'll not miss a single episode.
They have what is called a theocratic worldview, meaning that God's law is above and beyond any human law. If I have to submit to any kind of law, I'm going to submit to God's law.
These videos, produced for the Jehovah's Witnesses website, show happy and carefree worshipers. What they don't show, the sheltered lives, the strict rules meant to protect against the Satan-led outside world. Witnesses are required to spend hours spreading Jehovah's word door to door and at street corner carts like these. They don't celebrate holidays, no Christmases, no birthdays. And those who don't obey the rules risk being shunned by friends and family.
You have very, very little connection with the outside world. Your entire world is that. So if you're shunned from that, who do you turn to? Who do you have as support? It's very difficult.
Imagine being told that your kind co-worker, your loving parent, cousin, grandpa, whoever is close to you is a spiritual threat. That your childhood friend could actually corrupt you. That even your own family members, if they are not in the truth, they are not Jehovah's Witnesses, might weaken your faith. Let's listen to this clip by Mark Sanders trying to justify why you should not get financial ideas from your relatives.
Some of your non-witness family members might offer you secular or financial advice. We know they mean well, and they feel that they're giving you the best advice because they love you. But young brothers and sisters, we are convinced that the blessings of full-time service far outweigh any challenges that might go along with it.
The organization controls what you think, what you read, where you go, who you can associate with, who you can marry. Everything is controlled by the organization in order to ensure that you don't get exposed to competing voices, to alternative views, to alternative ideas. Perfect trap, perfect system to ensure that this dark secret hidden from members, so dark that if exposed could lead to the collapse of the Watchtower society, is perfectly kept and secured in plain sight. The final piece of this psychological prison, the perfect one, the best amongst all the traps, it's so powerful that compliance is almost automatic, subconsciously, unconsciously automatic. And what is that? Fear. Jehovah's Witnesses are constantly kept in fear. I was going through chats on one ExJW WhatsApp platform, and one member asked, what is it that when you left found so difficult to let go? Some of them mentioned the fear of Armageddon. And if mentally they know it's not true, but psychologically they fear that it might come anytime. We hear of stories of children fearing that Armageddon fire will fall from heaven and consume them when they were children. Here's a clip.
As a child, every night that you went to bed, you believed this may be your last night. You may not wake up.
Of course, it was always constantly that Armageddon could be coming at any minute.
What does Armageddon look like in the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses?
In my head, it was giant fireballs coming out of the sky and people screaming and dying in front of me.
A fiery death wasn't the only thing that scared Tricia. In fact, in a way, her own world had already ended. Since she was a child, she says, she had been abused by someone she should have been able to trust the most.
So this is not just ordinary fear, but existential terror of Armageddon. Watchtower illustrates cities burning, guns blazing and being fired.
So to help us to make sure that we've got some idea of some of the events that occur during the Great Tribulation, let's look at this review. What event starts the Great Tribulation? The destruction of Babylon the Great. That will be the time when the political powers turn on the world empire of false religion, showing their disgust for this symbolic prostitute. This will lead to the destruction of all false religious organizations. What event ends the Great Tribulation? The Battle of Armageddon. That will be the final part of the Great Tribulation. Jesus, along with the resurrected 144,000 and myriads of angels, will battle with all those who oppose Jehovah, his kingdom, and his people here on earth. This will be the war of the great day of God the Almighty.
Convention videos depict non-witnesses begging for mercy as fire rains from heaven.
And Jehovah's Witnesses believe in Armageddon, the final battle between God and all wicked humans. They believe it'll happen any day now.
Armageddon is a battle. It's a battle against the forces of darkness, and the only way to be saved is to actually follow Jehovah and adopt our interpretation of the Bible. That's essentially it.
Who else but Christ Jesus would lead the heavenly forces to the battle of Armageddon? False religion has already been destroyed. Now Jesus turns his attention to what remains of Satan's wicked world, its political and commercial systems. He dismantles, destroys, and brings to nothing all who oppose true worship on earth.
Children grow up fearing that their school friends will soon be destroyed by God. This constant state of anxiety serves one purpose: to keep members obedient. When you genuinely believe that the world could end any time, you don't plan for retirement. You don't build a house. You don't get a university degree. You don't get a high-paying job. Your focus is to work for Jehovah's organization, because it's through Jehovah's organization that you are going to be saved.
You need just enough to go by because, the world's going to end anyway.
And you also don't question authority. You obey, not out of love, but out of sheer survival instinct.
I'm watching the broadcast. I'm watching their morning worship videos. I'm reading these magazines, and I'm paying attention. I'm looking at what they're saying. And I find myself becoming increasingly disturbed at what I'm reading. I'm reading it not as a witness that I'm just going to accept everything. This is all the truth. Thank goodness for the spiritual food. I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is going on here? And so I actually want to give you and your audience a couple examples of that. This is from the December 2022 Watchtower, page 21. I didn't get the month on that one. But these quotes I'm about to mention are all about obedience, obeying the authority, obeying the governing body, which is Jehovah's Witness leadership. It's their leaders, the governing body. This quote says, "Do your best to obey the direction you receive, even if you do not fully understand why it is being given." Another one, November Watchtower 2015. "The life-saving direction that we receive from Jehovah's organization may not appear practical from a human standpoint. All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not." Another one, this is from the Meeting Workbook of 2020, November. "We should likewise listen to any instructions we receive from Jehovah's organization and obey promptly and wholeheartedly. This is true even if it does not seem important to follow them, or we do not understand the reason for the instructions." This is a pattern. This is something they've been saying more and more and more and more, and getting a little more extreme with it too. In fact, I mentioned the JW Broadcasting. I think it was the October edition of the JW Broadcasting. They said the same thing again in one of the talks. And so I'm hearing this and I'm following the thread on what does this mean? They keep saying obey, 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 obey. Obey if it doesn't make sense. Obey if you disagree with it. Don't ask questions. Obey if everything inside your mind and heart is screaming out at you, don't do this thing, you need to obey. And I'm like, that's not good. That's unhealthy. First of all, that's if you applied that standard to any relationship, that's not a healthy relationship.
And these are the people who say we are saved by grace. And yet, you can only survive Armageddon by fear, by works, by compliance. Now, the psychological trap is only half the truth. But what happens when fear is used to empty bank accounts? When members are deliberately kept poor and exhausted? That is the topic of our next episode. So in the next episode, we follow the money trail and expose how the Watchtower Society profits by keeping its members in financial bondage. If you are enjoying this video, kindly like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell so that when I upload the next episode, you'll receive a notification and you'll not miss a single episode. If you have any questions, you are seeking clarifications, you don't agree with what I've said, kindly put them in the comments below. If you don't agree with me, also put that in the comments below. Let's start the conversation. If you did not watch part 1 of this video, click on this link. To watch part 3 of this video, click on this link. To watch the video on how the Jehovah's Witnesses have silently acknowledged that Jehovah is not God's divine name, click on this link. To watch how the Jehovah's Witnesses have developed a sophisticated mind control system, click on this link.